Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world right now. A very time zone friendly welcome to you to the Intel Extreme Masters São Paulo.
Sejam todos bem-vindos, estamos de volta. Boa tarde, galera.
It is now time to move into the serious business here on day 3 of the StarCraft tournament, day 4 overall here at the Intel Extreme Masters, as we move into the quarterfinals for the StarCraft 2 Championship. But before we get there, let's just take a quick look back at exactly what's happened in our 4 groups in the round of 16. As you can see on your screen, Bomber coming through in Group A with Jjakji in second, MC triumphant in Group B, Polt winning Group C, and then we've just seen an extraordinary group in Group D with Major and A-Bomb surprising everyone in Group D.
Então estamos prontos para ir para as quartas de final. Vamos dar uma olhada em quem se classificou em cada grupo. Grupo A com o Bomber e Jjakji, Grupo B, MC e Yellow, Grupo C, Polt e... não consigo ver o nome. Grupo D, Grupo D, A-Bomb junto com Major.
We'll get there in the end. So it's time to move on to the quarterfinals now. Let's show you the bracket. The 8 players qualified for the last 8 here at the Intel Extreme Masters look like this. As I said earlier on, we'll play 2 today and 2 tomorrow. The bottom half of the bracket will be played tomorrow morning here in São Paulo. To start with though, MC versus A-Bomb is the second game today. First off, we'll start with Jjakji versus Polt.
Então vamos lá, hoje teremos 2 jogos da quarta de final, amanhã teremos os 2 outros jogos. A gente vai começar com Jjakji contra Polt e depois MC contra A-Bomber. São os 2 jogos que faremos hoje. Quarta de final, cada uma é a melhor de 5.
Time now to introduce you to our first 2 players playing in the quarterfinals. These 2 players have some history. They also have some Codes experience. A former Codes champion, no doubt, from Korea. Please welcome Jjakji.
Vamos dar as palmas aí pro Jjakji. Ele participou, já foi campeão do Codes. Tá aqui com a galera.
And going head to head with him is also a Korean, a Terran, no less, a man who had an absolutely amazing 2013. Wins at MLG, wins at WCS America, not just once, but twice. He is CM Storm Polt.
Aplausos aí para o Polt. Vai subir ao palco, campeão 2 vezes da WCS América, chegando aqui com a gente no palco. A gente vai então agora para os narradores em português.
Time now to go over to our commentary team in both Portuguese and English, but don't forget we also have the map veto coming very shortly.
Thanks very much, guys. Welcome to the caster's desk here for the round of 8. This is where things get very serious, and what a series to open things up.
Yep, it's Terran versus Terran. It's one of my favorite matchups in recent times, providing us with always entertaining and excellent games. And I'm sure this one will do exactly the same. This is going to be a best of 5 from this stage on, a $1,000 increase from the $1,000 banked already from making it into the round of 8, and this is where the quarterfinals kick off.
I was watching the series after A-Bomb plays his first one over on the couch with A-Bomb, and he said to me, who do you think is actually going to take this whole tournament? And Jjakji and Polt were sat next to me, and I thought, well, probably one of these 2. But they meet in the round of 8. Oh my God, these 2 have really shown their chops as of late. Polt, 2013, a fantastic year for him, and now Jjakji looking to absolutely dominate Europe. Can he make that extra step forward here at the Intel Extreme Masters?
We'll see, won't we?
Yeah.
So here is the map veto. It's best of 5 now from a 7 map pool. That means they have 1 veto each and then straight over to the selection process. Paul gets rid of Habitation Station, and then Jjakji Heavy Rain. Heavy Rain, it really provides some weird matchups, and it really favors mech as well once it gets to the later stages, as we saw earlier on when Major was playing against Byung. So that's out of the way, and from this point it's just 1 map pick each until we are down with the order from the map process.
Yeah, looking forward to this a lot. This is going to be a good TVT, probably the best one we've seen throughout the entire tournament so far. We've had quite a few actually come on along our way, and our maps will be Yonsu, Daedalus Point, Frost, Polar Night, and then Altazim Stronghold if we need it.
All right, perfect map pool here. A bit of smiles and giggles from both of them as they make their way to the booth. And this is where it's all going to begin. The fun really begins here. We'll be broadcasting 2 of the quarterfinals this evening. back-to-back. And then the other two semi-finals and finals will be played out tomorrow. So we have 2 more best-of-5s remaining this evening.
Yeah, and then 5 series in total tomorrow, as you mentioned. So a lot of awesome StarCraft still here from Sao Paulo, and who would have thought A-Bomb manages to make it through a Code S Terran there? That was something special. I was flabbergasted.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure so was he. It was a massive result for him, and he finds himself in the round of 8, but not exactly an easy opponent, as he will be playing against MC in our second quarterfinal this evening. But back onto this quarterfinal, this best-of-5 between Polt, who, as Red Eye mentioned, won MLG last year and also won back-to-back Premier League titles in the World Championship Series in North America, and has always been one of the best Terrans out there. And there he is. He was the winner, well, of a GSL, but not a GSL, but in the same bracket, really. He was the winner of the 2011 Super Tournament provided by GOM TV. $100,000 first place, a massive amount of money at that time, considering that tournaments going then were not that high.
Yeah.
Were not that high, and I think at GSL at the time was about 60,000 or something. And Polt got 100K from that tournament and proceeded to dominate Europe and America from there, traveling to MLGs, traveling to DreamHacks and Asus ROGs in Europe, and just became one of the most famous Terran players out there. Whereas Jjakji, not quite as fast and rapid career as Polt. Started off actually really good at the start of StarCraft 2, was able to win a GSL in 2011 himself. Very quiet 2012 with the rise of Zerg, who struggled a lot in that matchup, as well as many others. But 2013 started to make his way back up and recently joining My Insanity, and now looking to dominate Europe himself actually this year.
Exactly. I mean, he dropped his Code S spot in the season, so he would have been one of 4 Terrans to be in Code S. As you can see on screen now, here is Polt representing CM Storm, and oh boy, has he represented them well. As our first map indeed will be Yonsu between these 2 guys, and you know, whoever advances on through from this round, from this series, I gotta give them very, very good chops when it comes to maybe taking the whole tournament. I thought coming into this tournament that Hero was gonna provide fireworks and kind of fizzle out those fireworks a little bit. He just put his thumb over the...
He did, he played really, really well.
So, Polt now looking to go up against Jjakji here. Both of these players, though, really, all of these guys looking for a top 2 finish, but this bracket is single elimination. If you lose, you are done. You do not go on to those top 2 spots. And that's everything that these guys are after.
Jjakji, when he found out he was playing against Polt, wasn't exactly pleased with who he was going up against, realizing that this is going to be a difficult matchup for him, and he's looking very concentrated in that booth, as this is everything. It's a long way to travel from Switzerland, where his current team house is with My Insanity, and now flying all the way down to Sao Paulo, definitely aiming for a top 2 finish. All the players in the quarterfinals obviously aiming for a top 2, if not winner finish. Jjakji definitely wants the opportunity to kickstart his 2014 year, especially having that opportunity to play in Katowice. But Polt, one of only 2 players to actually have a visa to play StarCraft professionally in America. He was a student at the Austin, Texas University, and was in his spare time and weekends playing in StarCraft 2 tournaments, but now with a real visa, a 5-year visa, is now able to fully concentrate on StarCraft. And from some of you, maybe even watched his stream a little bit, he had a bike in the back of his student dorm. He had a bicycle next to him.
Wow.
It looked like he was streaming from a cabinet, and he was on student dorm internet, and just wasn't obviously in the best conditions, and it did affect his results a little bit coming towards the end of 2013. But he definitely had a strong 2013, but now fully on, full-time StarCraft 2, just like Jjakji. And his European Korean versus an American Korean. Who's going to wedge out?
That's certainly what we have in store for us. Let's get right into this. Up to the top right-hand corner, our blue Terran representing CM Storm. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Polt. And down to the bottom left, we have our red Terran representing My Insanity. It's Jjakji.
And these two players having obviously playing the same race, but two different play styles when it comes to their race. Polt, very hands-on approach, very aggressive, likes to be in your face and putting the pressure on from as soon as possible, really. Whereas Jjakji is more of a, I'm going to play this out very normal and hopefully look to, play faster than you, play better mechanics, positionally, play better than you, find you in weaker spots, pull you this way, attack the other way, and just kind of play the game out quite standard. But in a best-of-5 series, if you play super standard across it all, a player like Polt will adapt and absolutely can look to exploit weaknesses that he finds throughout.
Yeah, definitely. Jjakji's that player that whenever we end up casting him in the European scene, he somehow gets these small incremental advantages and then allows it to completely spiral out of control and snowball in his favor.
Yeah, he doesn't make many mistakes, Jjakji.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the ways to describe him. He's very solid.
It's really fun to watch as well. Really, really fun. It's just straight down the line, very clear cut. And Polt is going to look to try and exploit early on, potentially, as for now.
I mean, Jjakji's got a plan, right? He's taking gas up first, so he's definitely going to be an aggressive, probably Banshee build here. There's two options. So when you go gas first, you obviously allow yourself to unlock the factory as soon as the barracks completes. You can take a second gas and go up to the starport and tech lab and cloak Banshee from there, and you can branch away, or you could just not take the second gas and go for a pretty fast starport and look to drop early on. But on the other side of things, Polt took a 13 gas and an SCV scout. He wants to know exactly what Jjakji's doing and will play reactionary in this game. And upon seeing the barracks faster, he'll end up playing defensive from this position. Maybe a defensive Raven from this point if he's expecting Banshees. Just super defensive, but he will get a faster command center and look to not take losses to his SCV lines.
And he sees exactly what's going on already. He's seen the gas, he sees the factory timing. So this really gives Polt very good indication as to what might be thrown at him in just a little bit as he starts his own factory as well. And there's some Terrans that, well, for the longest time didn't even bother scouting, just went straight up to the starport and were like, I'm gonna get a Viking out, just cover all my bases and be completely fine from that point on. But Polt here playing a very information-heavy game and is certainly benefiting from it.
Absolutely. He may scan to find out if that gas had been taken later on, but not for now at least. That'll be in the next couple of minutes. And Jjakji has taken the second gas, so he will be looking to throw down the starport, tech lab on the factory, and now he's got two branches from this position as well, which is going for the cloak Banshee and then expanding, or he can dedicate more resources to this and actually throw down a reactor on the barracks, another tech lab on the factory, and produce tanks, Marines, and Banshees together, then expand later on. It really depends on how much of an investment he wants to throw into his aggressive nature in the earlier stages.
And that's one of the great things and the beauties of TVT. It's the fact that, yes, it can go on really long, but also we have some amazingly strong earlier aggressive moves, like, for example, we saw it yesterday with the double tank pressure before command center, and it really does a lot of damage if you can get some earlier kills with a Banshee, for example. And Polt's reacting to that. He thinks, Widowmine is going to be my choice. I'm going to try and deal with whatever comes along.
And look at this. So Jjakji's decided to put a reactor on the factory. He's actually dedicating a little bit more resources to this than getting the faster command center. And he will be, well, actually, no, that's a Raven, not a Banshee here. So with a Raven, he's not playing the way that Polt's expecting, because if you look over to Polt, he's got a Viking, he's got Marines, and even a Widowmine. And we'll switch over to get a Raven in a minute, because he's expecting the Cloak Banshee build.
Yeah.
This will throw him off a little bit here.
Both players just playing very defensively here. As Jjakji now, he does send the SCV up, and technically that can get up there, and, well, actually, that Widowmine should be able to deny. So it was just on the very cusp, because it could have gone in of range and out of range, but it was going to be close.
So Jjakji with the gas first, and especially because he got scouted, it looks like he decided to change his mind from going for aggressive, and now because he didn't really know what Polt was going, decided to just, as you said, play defensive himself a little bit, in case Polt was trying to play with gas first himself. But from this position, I wouldn't even be surprised if Jjakji tried to take a faster command center, just kind of protected with tanks and Marines while he takes his natural. I mean, that's a long shot maybe. But Polt from this position, I think he may scan in a second, because he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't really know if this is what he thinks it was originally. And I'm really seeing if he is going to scan. He's got the energy, saving it up in case there is a Banshee.
He certainly has to figure it out.
I think that he's going to save up, and then in the next 30 seconds, he's going to start to realize that this isn't what he thought it was, and then he'll need the information to continue to play on.
Well, also, I mean, a Banshee would have arrived a little bit, like, very soon, if not before.
Yeah, it would have arrived around the time the Viking popped out, so that's why he's already starting to move his Marines down, and he's probably assuming that this isn't going to be what he thought.
Well, the SCV for Jjakji once again is going to go along, have a little bit of a look around. He sees a few Marines, but that's all he's really going to see at this point as he moves down to the low ground. He's already got siege tanks himself out one here, and he's going to have a second one. So even if Polt wanted to put on some pressure, I'm not really sure there's anything he could do.
Well, Polt's got to be careful though, remember, because this little push out here from Jjakji with 2 tanks is kind of strong. He has the Raven for the point defense drone. He has quite a few Vikings, and if he wants to move forward here, it could catch Polt off guard, but Polt does have his own tanks out, which are obviously going to help out a lot.
He's with those that SCV is sent out there. He saw the Marines moving out, so he thought maybe sieging up there before they were to move on a high ground. If his opponent was moving out, then he could have greeted that. But for now, very passive game from both of these players, which I was not really expecting.
Yeah, well, Paul saw the tank, and he's realized obviously that the gas wasn't thrown into the Cult Banshee, so he's just going to take his natural now and is adding on extra barracks. And we kind of weirdly, despite the way that this shaped out to be, skip the aggression from the early stages, and both players move into the mid game with relatively equal standpoints from both sides, really. I mean, nothing's been damaged.
Yeah.
They're very similar FCV counts. They're going for very similar strategies when it comes to everything so far.
Hey, that one Widowmine was a big deal maker there for Polt, because there was 3 Vikings out there for Jjakji as opposed to only 2 for his opponent, and those 2 Vikings are now weakened as well. So whereas he probably could have got a bit more of a good position if he were to try and go for the natural. Now that's nowhere near possible.
And Polt moved his tanks into a very good position there to defend the ramp on the left-hand side and also defend anything sieging up under his main base. Very defensive there because he wasn't sure exactly what Jjakji was planning to do with his units.
I like that. I like that a lot. Polt now throwing down his 3rd command center. No 3rd command center here for Jjakji just yet. He's just added on his extra barracks, but Polt already had those anyway. So Polt's doing all right here. His defensive setup is nice, his income's going to be nice, and much nicer actually right now than Jjakji's.
Yeah, they're not really going to be able to do any heads-up damage to each other anytime soon. I mean, neither of these players are going to be out of position when the game is so early and so fresh like this, but we may start to see some medevac play soon, which is where we can see drops occur and get some damage done. We could see some maneuverability from this, where he pulls Polt's army one way and then is able to siege up in another. And both armies moving here, and this is a little bit of a luck factor, because neither of them know exactly where the other opponent is, yet they're both moving out towards each other. And this can actually create really weird scenarios.
Yeah.
I mean, does Polt come back to defend?
Exactly.
Does he go forward and march on himself? This is really awkward, actually.
Yeah, it is.
I just don't know this is happening.
He drops the scan, realizing that there's nothing is there actually in the main base, and meanwhile Polt is going to go straight for his opponent's bases. It's almost too late now to really turn around, because these siege tanks are already on the high ground and in very good positions here for Jjakji.
And if Jjakji's able to defend at home, maybe this, I mean, this, in a case, this is so close, I don't know what's going on here.
Well, army supplies in favor of Jjakji, 66 to 54. He needs to siege up everything once that actually pops out of his production facilities. Even a Hunter Seeker missile on that siege tank, and he actually gets a few Marines with that. So this is really good trades here so far for Jjakji.
Yes, it's a really nice move by Jjakji, and I'm sure Polt's like, why didn't I have a Marine or something on the right-hand side to see this coming down?
Oh, he just got stim. He just denied stim. I mean, he's still taking a lot of damage himself, so it might not end up being the biggest of deals, but still, Jjakji's doing a lot here.
This game is so early that neither of them have enough to challenge each other's army without their own army being there, so this is a complete trade-off.
He's done a lot of damage to the production facilities, has Polt. He's denied all of those barracks of production. Meanwhile, we have Polt trying to accumulate a few of these Marines in the back to see if he can do anything to this force, but Jjakji is too well entrenched on his perimeters. He's having to fly away everything to the left-hand side.
So this is really weird, because Jjakji has more army on the other side of the map actually killing stuff, but he hasn't got enough to defend here. And Polt has stim. Polt has +1 attack with these units, and he's going to be able to wipe out the main base. And what a game one!
I suppose if an immovable object and an unstoppable weapon actually meet each other, then this is what you end up getting. I mean, a few Marines just die off here, but Jjakji's still up in terms of army supply. Just buildings are flying everywhere.
But he doesn't have stim. He does have +1. If only that engineering rate could have been sniped, would have helped.
This is the last command center, so that's going to end up burning down, and now all the buildings are revealed. So how many Vikings do we have? 3 to 2. I think that is going to be the big factor here. Because, well, also we still have command centers for Jjakji.
Well, if either of these players is set up defensively, like sieged up, they actually can't break each other.
Yeah.
And Jjakji's the one with a command center. So if you put these together and say that if Jjakji uses that command center to mine, and then is able to sit back and defend it because neither of them can break each other, then Jjakji would be in a superior position. He has 2 command centers here. Is Jjakji going to try and take a fight, or is he going to remake?
Unit counts. Oh, there's actually a lot of SCVs here for Jjakji to buffer as well if an engagement would come along.
Still, Stim is quite a big factor here.
Yeah.
I think Jjakji should play this passively.
Yeah, just sit around him. I mean, he has 2 command centers, right?
Yeah, and Polt has kind of one being rebuilt, but...
I can't believe they've traded mains. This is actually a thing right now. And also, Jjakji still has some supply depots.
Oh, he's got to be careful here. Polt sees it with his barracks.
Yes, he does. But at the same time, Jjakji has a Viking advantage, a Marine advantage, a tank advantage.
Jjakji's going to try and go for Cloak Banshees to end this game. There's no Raven, obviously, here for Polt, but Polt's going to drop inside the main base. He's going to siege up. He's going to try and take the high ground so he can prevent Jjakji from mining on that lower ground. Smart move there from Polt. And like I said again, I have to keep saying it is neither of them can engage each other if all the tanks are sieged up. They just don't have enough units.
Yeah. Well, Jjakji's moving onto the high ground with a few of his units, going to bring those down as well. For now, the SCVs are kept with the army so that they can actually just push it all away.
FI.
And he does end up getting the majority of the Vikings here for Polt. Once that last one goes down, then he has a huge advantage. Auto turrets as well. Jjakji smells blood in the water, kills off the remaining siege tanks, and he still has 3 left himself. GG for game number 1. Jjakji takes it. What a bizarre turn of events.
Wow. that was a wild one.
Yeah, that really was.
That was a wild one. And it all came down to just, I mean, think of, is it Neoplanet S? The one with the diamond, golden, circle donut thing in the middle?
Yeah, and you have 2 paths.
Yeah. So if anyone, played or seen games on Neoplanet S, these kind of games happen a lot because one player would go one way and the other would go the other way, and they kind of miss armies, and then these scenarios happen. And that was really close. That was, I mean, before that kind of happened, that rotational system happened, it was a close game. And I can't feel that, I mean, I have to be thinking that Polt's like, well, that kind of sucks. Whether he's saying, did I not have a Marine on the right-hand side to see this coming? Should I have had that there? It's a little bit unfortunate, really, for him. But whatever the case, Jjakji wins map number 1, and also has decided to just pop away from the computer as well. So we will have a couple of minutes before we jump into this next one, but not the best of starts here from Polt.
No, not really. But as you mentioned, very, very unfortunate. Things could have happened a whole lot differently in that game. The flip of a coin, basically. Yeah. The flip of a coin. But Jjakji made it happen. That is great for him in game number 1. Now he needs 2 more victories to advance onto the round of 4. And as you said before this started, this is where the money starts ramping up. This is where the WCS points start ramping up. And the all-important top 2 spots to move on to Katowice.
Yeah. It was great decisions there by Jjakji at the end. Just that was the best thing you could do. Just sit on your base, and you kind of saying to Polt, well, 2 command centers, a lot of SCVs.
Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. Basically, that's what he said. Come at me, bro. And well, Polt had to find a way, and he couldn't. So he drops the first one. Best of 5 though, so still a long way to go in this game.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure that Polt will put that down to a little bit unlucky, and we'll look forward to this next one.
Yeah, not that it's not one of those defeats that's amazingly demoralizing. It's like, oh, I played terribly, it's just, oh, well, that just happened. Okay, next game, for Polt here, as he is just getting geared up to go on to Daedalus Point for our next map. So this, technically, if you think about it, a similar thing could happen if they both take, because the middle of Daedalus Point is hugely wide open. Hugely wide open.
Yeah, definitely something like that could happen. I don't think we're going to see mech. Neither of these players actually like playing mech too much. So I know a lot of Terran players out there do like to see mech in TVT, but unless a map really calls for mech, I don't think we're going to see it. Both these players are known for playing with Marines and with tanks.
Yeah.
And they're very famous for that, so...
And they've both shown that they are so good about the versatility and mobility of that kind of style, right? When I think of players like Jjakji and Polt, I think about multiple drop locations, hitting hard with a little bit of a bioforce through the middle as well in this matchup. And they will test each other's multitasking to the absolute limit if we get to that mid-game scenario.
Yeah, it's always nice. With Terran versus Terran in the earlier stages, it's very similar to PvP in the aspect of that they're all going to be builds colliding against each other, and both of them are looking to get an advantage, whether they play the defensive player or the aggressive player, similar to Protoss versus Protoss, where you can do that as well. And then usually one player will edge out a little bit ahead of the other and we're able to play the game from there. And usually then we'll require one player to come back a little bit into the game, find a way back in. But Terran versus Terran does provide some pretty entertaining games. And I'm sure that we're going to see more of those like game number 1. Well, maybe not exactly the same like game number 1, but definitely as entertaining. As Jjakji still not quite back yet. And we'll be getting into this when he is.
He really needed that stretch, quite clearly.
Needed that stretch. He did need that stretch. I mean, do you have any favorites to take this series? Is it Jjakji or Polt? Because I know you both thought both of them could do well in the tournament, but...
I'm going to have to go with Jjakji. I think that the way in which game number 1 played out, obviously they were very similar builds. They were both playing very defensively early on, but somehow, some way there, Jjakji eked out a little bit of a unit advantage. Even though we saw Polt having the superior economy going into the later stages of that early game. So, yeah, I think Jjakji's well versed in TVT right now. Of course, Polt is as well, but Jjakji just somehow eked it forwards a little bit there.
Well, as you can see on screen, he has returned, and we will be jumping into this game immediately. But a nice jump start there for Jjakji, and of course my insanity. And we'll see if you had to push this to 2-0. This is almost, I mean, in any matchup, in a best of 5 or best of 7, you can't allow the other player to be into match point. It's so difficult to make the comeback. Even though it is possible, it is very, very difficult. And through Jjakji getting that first win, this is an almost must-win really for Polt. Does not want to allow this to go to a 0-2, having to win 3 games back to back to back. Even though I think out there that Polt may be slightly stronger than Jjakji, but at this level of StarCraft, anybody can win, like we just saw. And he's got to be careful not to allow Jjakji to have those 3 games.
And now, I mean, going onto this map, after seeing both of them in game number 1 open up so defensively, technically, I wouldn't mind either of them opening up both very defensively as well here. Daedalus Point, there is a little bit of room for those Banshees to wiggle on around and stuff, so we could see just straight to Viking, straight to Raven, and making sure that they don't take any damage in the early game. I like that style.
All right, well, we are loading now into the next map. Daedalus Point, is it?
Yes, it is. All right, let's get going. Spawning down to the bottom right-hand corner, our red Terran representing my insanity, currently 1 game up. It's Jjakji. And up to the top left, we have our blue Terran representing CM Storm. It's Polt.
Captain America. Did he actually have that name officially given?
I think so.
Or was it community given? Is it...
Well, I think when he won that MLG, there was a swish, there was a transition of an American flag, and someone gave him an American flag, so...
There you go.
Yeah, I think he actually is Captain America.
What's Violet, then? Both have US visas.
Yeah, they do.
What's Violet?
Did he ever have a sidekick? There was never like a woman America. I don't think so. I don't know.
Captain America 2.
Yeah. They can both be Captain America.
Well, Violet was the one with the US visa first, but I guess Polt was the one that won the MLG tournament.
That's true. That is true. So, anyway, just Polt, Hyun, Violet, those guys, they really seem to like American tournaments. It's like, if I ever think of an American tournament, it's always just those guys winning, and who cares about everybody else?
Yeah, I mean, they both love America, so...
Yeah. All right, well, into game number 2. We have gas going down here for Polt after that barrack starts. So for now, he's going to send out an SCV once again. He is really information-centric. And for someone as smart as Polt and as studious, I think that this is exactly to the T for Polt. He absolutely wants to know what his opponent's up to, so then he can react. He is such a clever guy.
And he will, I mean, he would love to know this information, and the information that he would find, which isn't going to be given, is that this is a defensive build from Jjakji. Let's have a look at this. Should be able to close it in time. Perfect. So now Jjakji's opened up with 15 gas, which has been hidden away. Jjakji's taken the approach where, yo, I'm doing this build, I'm going to hide it from you, I'm going to force you to have question marks surrounding you, these bubble question marks popping up. Because Polt's gone 13 gas again. And Polt obviously wants to know what he's playing against. And unlike the previous game where he did know he was up against Gas First, the only thing he knows is that it isn't Gas First this time because of the Barracks timing. But he doesn't know if it's going to be for, from a 12 gas all the way up to a 15 gas to no gas at all. And that is a different set of builds that he would be up against. So Polt from this position needs a generic build.
Yeah.
And that seems to be Banshees himself.
Yeah, already adding on that gas and then already rallying that SCV to produce that starport as quickly as possible. So really, really nice tech-heavy build here by Polt. But meanwhile, doesn't want to lose a Reaper, as those are going to retreat on back and, well, trade blow for blow. But the SCV just provide a little bit of extra firepower. Regardless, Polt comes out on top. All is good.
All is good here, but the SCV will try to have a look around. Another Marine pops out. No information there gathered, but as you can see, Jjakji now a little bit in the dark still to what exactly Polt's going on, so maybe it'll be him the one to attempt to scan soon enough. He'll have to do it in the next 50 energy after just cooling down a mule, but Polt has decided, whatever the case, he's going to be going, by the looks of it, for Banshee. Of course, it still could be Raven. I don't know which one he's going to go for here.
Well, Jjakji just adding on that factory, and well, aside from that, not a whole lot going on. Polt here, what is he going to go for?
Yeah, we'll have to see. Does he want to sit back and try to play this defensively without knowing exactly what he's up against, or is he going to go Banshee himself?
And it is going to be Banshee, so
all right.
I do like that from Polt here. Jjakji, though, I mean, the Banshee, because this command center is at the time it's at, then he does have to kill some SCVs. Yeah. He has to even things up, right?
Yeah. I mean, the worst case scenario for Polt is Banshee versus Banshee.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario, though, is that if he's able to, go over there and there's nothing there that can really stop his Banshee, he can get a couple of kills and then expand himself, even though his opponent will have a faster command center with a defensive build.
And he is going to land that command center down out on the low ground, or at least start building it. Well, Jjakji spots it instantly, actually, so that's very, very nice for him. He even drops a scan in the main and sees the positioning of the Marines, and he knows how many are there, as well as the entire infrastructure. So right now, Polt has all the information he needs, but he has to anticipate a Raven because of seeing that tech lab.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, he saw no cloak beam research, right? So
yeah. Well, that Banshee now on the way over there, and Cloak's just about to finish for Polt. Has to be careful. Always actually supply blocks here is Jjakji for a second, so not the most pristine of builds.
Even SCV gets into Polt's base, sees everything.
Whoa, did he really? How did he get past those Marines?
It was hiding behind the command center on the natural.
Oh, cheeky little fella. Nicely done there by Jjakji. But now that Banshee is going to start breaching, and, well, Jjakji's already on top of it. Look at this. Well in position. Oh!
Big loss there. Big, big loss.
That was catastrophic.
Big loss.
I did not anticipate Polt to just wander in there willy-nilly. That was really random, but whatever. We have the engineering bay about to finish up in just a little bit for Jjakji. And army supply now 24 to 20.
And a worker supply lead, just small little leads here.
Yeah. And that's what we're talking about for Jjakji at the very beginning. Just those small little leads anywhere he can get. There's another Cloak Banshee on the way, but it's already sandwiched by these Marines. What is it supposed to do?
Perfect defense here. It's perfect defense.
2 workers have died so far, but those were the scouting ones. And now, yes, he is going to lose 1 or 2. All right. So he gets them, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, if we look at it now, Jjakji just in still a bit of a lead with the SCV count. But overall, a nice start here from Jjakji once again, and this is not what Polt wanted. Obviously, doesn't want to go into the second game with a disadvantage and go into a potential loss. He was going to be very careful not to make any more mistakes or give any opportunities to Jjakji as he is moving out here.
Yeah.
And with the air already out, the Raven there and 2 Vikings to support this, Polt's got to be careful, Cloris. This is dangerous.
He has to be very careful. This is a fantastic push. We see it time and time again. Sometimes before command center, sometimes after. That Raven doesn't want to overextend. It does have energy for the auto turret, so it will throw that down. The first siege tank is left very, very vulnerable. It trades away a few Marines, but the last 2 siege tanks here for Jjakji remain alive. This is a big deal. He has to pull the SCVs, does Polt.
Yeah, and he's pulling the SCVs, and he's going to lose a lot here. Maybe he had to hold on just about, but how many SCVs does he lose? And he was already behind an SCVs before this even begun.
Good for the SCVs. They do end up surrounding one of those siege tanks and killing off it, but at the same time, he's already lost 13. Yeah. This is a real big blunder here for Polt as he now tries to hold off this torrent of aggression. He's got Stim about to finish, but this is really not going to make too much of a difference. He needs to do something with this one siege tank, but Jjakji reinforced so aggressively. GG. Game number 2 falls to the My Insanity Terror.
2 games in a row. Now just 1 game away from completing his hat trick and moving on as the first player in the semi-finals. Polt has got the worst start possible here. As of course has to win 3 games in a row now. This is not going to be easy. This is not going to be easy at all. No. And Jjakji, what a beautiful start for him. Absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely fantastic, and Paul now has to be on the edge of his seat. What can you do as this man? Each time this has happened, well, in these past 2 games, it's been a very similar setup from Jjakji. He doesn't care what you're doing. He is solid as a rock back at home. What are you going to do to break this guy? What are you going to do?
Well, don't lose 2 Banshees for 2 SCVs, I think is the start in that game. You got a little bit unlucky in game number 1. Game number 2, you needed those Banshees. He needed to keep his opponent at home for a little bit longer. A little bit unfortunate there for Paul, but fantastic news here for Jjakji, who is now just 1 game away from making it into the semi-finals. And just for you guys, if you are experiencing a lot of sound issues, which we are as well, and it is rather difficult to cast like this and able to concentrate. It is at a convention. There's a lot of other stuff around, as you can tell.
Oh, yeah.
And it does get noisy like this, unfortunately. Kind of a little bit sad. But we'll do the best we can to continue on with this.
We shall. What can you do? May as well just get on with it, right? So, for now, Jjakji 2 games up. 3rd map will be Frost here, as Jjakji and Polt face off against one another in this best of 5. Jjakji is looking good. He is looking on fire. And, I mean, I don't see any reason for him to deviate. From what he's been doing so far, why change it up? I mean, technically, he could bring some aggression, but what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, I mean, he's started this out really well. I mean, he's playing with such determination with his builds. He's like, all right, game 1, I'm doing this. Game 2, I'm doing this. And Polt's the guy that's trying to play reactionary, trying to find out what's going on. And at the end of the day, he's not able to get exactly what he wants, and he ends up, well, losing 2-0 here.
Certainly. All right, well, will this man up to the top right-hand corner be able to bring it back a whole 3 games? It's a tall order, but if anyone can do it, it could be Storm Polt. And down to the bottom right-hand corner, we have the man that is currently 2 games up against Captain America himself. Representing My Insanity, it's Jjakji.
So Frost here. Even though it's a 4-player map, it's not really going to affect the openings that we've seen so far. It can be very similar to what we've already seen, with Gas first coming out. I wonder what Jjakji's going to do. Is he just going to try to go Gas first and play aggressive himself? Is he going to do what he did in game 2? I do like that he is changing it up a little bit here with his strategies. We'll have to find out here, and it's going to be kind of how this next game is going to unravel, depending on when they take their gases. And Polt, pulling back with his SCV, what is he doing? Okay, he's going to build a barracks. Never mind.
And yeah, Jjakji goes for that barracks.
Wait a minute,
but Polt is
actually going command center first.
Yeah.
This is a massive risk.
If this Reaper, that I assume is going to be on the way here,
it's going to be a Reaper build.
Yeah, if that gets over there before the right time, then this is going to be difficult for Polt to really deal with fully. It's a really irritating situation to be in as the defender if you're going for command center first.
So, I mean, Polt seems to be getting a little bit unlucky with the way that this is mapping out, but you know, all credit to Jjakji making himself very unpredictable. When you're not going to open up with an all-round build versus everything, then sometimes you are going to get a little bit hurt, and this seems to be one of the cases. As Jjakji going for a Reaper opening here against the command center first, and Jjakji ideally here will want to get a couple of SCV kills. He's going to expand himself, but a couple of SCV kills would almost nullify the effect that the command center first is going to give Polt, and the reason why I went for it in the first place.
His initial Reaper is currently rallied over to the left-hand side, so this SCV is very important for Jjakji to spot that base quickly and then get right on over there, because there's 2 barracks in production here for Polt, and from that point on, Jjakji now, he saw the SCV, so he knows. He already knows to rally up to the north. but yeah, there we know. He guarantee knows.
Yeah, so Reaper's going to go up there. And now knowing this command center is first, he's already damaging the SCV a little bit building the barracks, or at least hoping to. So his Reaper can get easier kills here.
And second Reaper's going to follow this up. So
yep.
the Marine control needs to be on point here, because Reapers trade all right against Marines if they're in very low numbers, but you have to constantly keep that pressure on the way.
All right, one Marine's going to pop out here. SCV's going to have to be pulled, obviously, to deal with this.
First Marine pops out. Not too bad focus fire there for the initial shot, and tries to wiggle on around and will get that, so nicely done, but now has to get out and recover some health. Otherwise, he's going to get mowed down by these Gauss rifles.
Yeah, absolutely here. So he's got to be careful. He's got to leave in a couple of seconds here, otherwise he may lose this Reaper.
All right, and the second one is on the way as well. He's only going to produce 2 during all of this.
Yeah, and it looks like he's going to go over to Banshees behind this, so put the pressure on and then over to Banshees. Remember the way that Polt's played this with 2 barracks and then 1 gas? He's not going to get a factory too fast in this game, and if Jjakji can slow him down, will he have the preparation for Banshees available?
And the Marines are already guarding that mineral line here as quickly as possible, just to make sure that he doesn't take any SCV losses whilst all of this is going on. Even a bunker goes down for Polt, making sure he's very, very relaxed and calm.
Relaxed and calm, the best way to be.
Yep, I agree.
Well, if you can see the SCV difference, 3 difference here. Polt is leading in that regard. These Reapers haven't done too much, but they are both still alive. And we are going to see this match. Remember that Polt still has no idea what this is. In the dark again. Sees a command center, so he knows it's Reaper expand, but is this 2 more barracks being added on? Is it just regular bio?
Exactly.
Is it going to be Banshee? Because if it is just regular bio, if Polt's going to go up towards, you know, anti-air, then if it's just regular bio and extra barracks, then Polt is going to fall behind with his stim upgrade, his combat shield upgrade, his engineering bay upgrade. You know, this is a bit of a sticky situation.
In Polt's position,
yeah, you kind of need to know, right?
Yeah.
So he sees the reactor on the factory and then a tech lab researching something to the left. He knows it's going to be Banshees.
Yeah, I was going to say, he's got 2 command centers that early, control for scan, and then, well, there you go. He sees everything, so all is good for him. Aside from the fact that he has to deal with these Hellions, which can be a bit of an annoyance, but there's so many Marines out for Polt that they should be able to deal with it.
So as long as Polt doesn't take too much damage against a Banshee, which has actually been cancelled, he stopped it.
Oh, wow.
So upon the scan coming in there, he cancelled it and decided against it, and is just going to build a Raven here. But Polt will build 2 turrets, 1 in each mineral line, I'd imagine.
I suppose to show your opponent a Banshee and then force that slight overcompensation here for Polt is not too bad at all.
I do like Polt's position now.
Yeah.
He went command center first, he didn't really take too many losses versus the Reapers, and there is no Banshee that he's had to deal with. Obviously he's had to spend 200 minerals on well, even just 100, sorry. Just 100 minerals on a turret, it's not even that bad, so.
Hey, we have a second factory coming in here for Jjakji.
Switching it up.
I like it. I like it a lot. Now, this could work out, especially if he gets his upgrades flowing, because that mech style in this matchup is just crazy, crazy good as long as you can get those upgrades, and as long as you're adding on the Vikings as well. It benefits so much from one another.
Yeah, it makes sense for Jjakji to go over to this, especially with the Raven being added on. Obviously, the Raven not going to be able to do too much when you're playing with bio, if he was to go for bio himself, and it is a lot later than Polt, so it does make sense here. But still, I do like Polt's position here, and the reason for that is he's going to have stim soon, he's going to have a lot of units, he's going to start to take map control soon, especially when that stim completes. 3rd command center on the way as well.
Oh, good reactions.
This is a little bit. Okay.
Yeah. He was baited out there by that lone Reaper, and then the Hellions decided to come up and roast all that. Yeah. But now Polt, I mean, without seeing the extra factories, he has to wonder, why do you have so many Hellions?
Yeah, you can almost imagine he's playing against mech now.
Yeah.
Especially without the Banshee coming in.
And starts a Marauder instantly after seeing all of that. So nice reaction indeed by Polt. Adds on the more barracks as well. So we're going to have the good old mech versus bio long-time war that I do love seeing.
And we could see the way that Jjakji's playing this, he might be looking to aim, especially with another factory coming in. I think he's looking towards a big, big timing here.
Yeah.
By the way that he's playing it so far, 4 factories before 3rd command center or armory. At this point, he's just looking to really dramatically increase his army size. And if that's the case, and Polt moves out to try to be aggressive himself or take a 3rd, which Jjakji does know the 3rd command center is down, and when you got a 3rd command center finished, surely there's temptation to go put it down and start mining and get a higher income.
Yeah.
If Jjakji can hit an opportunity and hit that window, Polt is, absolutely could lose this game 3-0.
Well, also the big interesting reinforcing point to that is Jjakji doesn't have any armories. He's not upgrading any upgrades. So the longer this goes on, the worse it's going to get for Jjakji. But he knows that. Obviously, he knows this.
Well, it comes down to Polt identifying what's going on. He just scanned inside the main base again.
Yeah.
And he saw kind of 3 factories, you'd imagine. But he didn't see anything else. And I wonder if he's moving out now, and he is looking to take a third. So I don't think he's kind of clicked properly onto this. Just seeing 3 factories, easily could have a third command center behind it somewhere. Look at the army supply. Jjakji has to be getting ready now. He knows that Polt's moving down to take this base. And with one swift blow, he can win the game here.
Yeah.
Combat shields is not ready. Well, okay, that'll help. Okay, it is ready.
Ta-da.
There are a couple of tanks in good positions. If Polt holds on, he's naturally in a major place to win this. But if he doesn't, then this is a 3-0.
Yeah, that one Marine on the right-hand side, if Jjakji for some reason chose to take that route, then he would be notified pretty quickly. But also now, a small contingent of Bio is moving out to the middle and actually grabbing that watchtower. So whichever way he chooses, he's going to know. Polt now sees a few Hellions on the right-hand side. He's going to have to reposition some of these siege tanks here, and he's indeed reacting very, very nicely to that.
Doesn't show his whole army, though, just shows a couple of Hellions. Does Polt realize what's coming?
That's a huge, huge wave of army that's about to hit the third front. The siege tanks are well positioned, but he has a little bit of bio behind it. The army supplies are so in favor of Jjakji. This could be
there's the scan. He knows exactly what's going on now.
Oh, yes, he does. The Hellions move on forward. Blue Flame, they're going to tank a lot of damage whilst these siege tanks get into formation right at the back. Will he be able to hold on against this? He forces the lift up. He has to evacuate out. There's still a lot of Hellions. No siege tanks for Polt. He has to evacuate the third base.
Yeah, Polt realizes he cannot fight into that right now. He needs to buy himself some more time.
And another scan does end up dropping here, so he knows the positioning of this bio quite nicely. The Hellions move forwards once again. How much damage will they be able to get done? It's pretty Marine heavy on that northern position for this bio, so a lot of that will end up getting roasted up, and the siege tanks are still being retained here for Jjakji. He is still ahead in terms of supply, but now a lot of his Hellions are gone, leaving those tanks behind.
He can siege up right there, just below the ramp, and then can start to move himself forwards. Beautiful positioning.
He needs more Hellions with it, though. The ones at the front are very, very low. He has the air advantage as well. The Hellions from the left-hand side going to hold off that bio for now.
Polt's in trouble.
Oh, he has 11 siege tanks against 1. Absolutely massive advantage here for Jjakji in terms of positioning an army. And the rest of the Marines and Marauders on the left-hand side are going to get killed off by Hellions alone.
Polt's able to still mine from 3 bases, though. There's still hope if he's able to build an army enough, fast enough is the biggest key. Oh, he's going to pick off 1 tank there, and maybe a second before it actually sieges up.
Nice move in with a little bit of this bio, trying to bring those down, but the Hellions reinforce once again. Jjakji is looking for the Swift 3-0. The SCVs get pulled off the line. Jjakji smells the blood. He looks to move on to the round of 4. One of the siege tanks will end up falling, but so many SCVs have already died during all of this. Jjakji now is happening all. He's rallying across as fast as he can. This is looking really bad for Paul.
This is looking like a 3-0 at the moment, and Jjakji just getting closer and closer towards that 3-0. A beautiful tactic, a beautiful strategy, and this caught Polt with his pants down a little bit here. He's going to try and drop on this tank line. It's a good start of the recovery.
Not too bad, those Marauders helping out a lot, but at the same time, even more reinforcements. Even the PDD helping out a little bit against that. He should be able to clean up the majority of these tanks. So a valiant, valiant effort for Polt to clean things up. But behind this, we have a third base down for Jjakji, and even a huge, huge SCV advantage. This is... Polt has so much to do that it looks nigh on impossible right now.
Well, he's holding on. He's holding on. He's got 30 SCVs compared to 54. Yes, he's behind in economy, but he's not outright dead. He was able to move over and mine from his third base. He bought himself enough time to get an army. And remember one thing, though. There are no upgrades for the mech.
That's true.
There are no upgrades here. And if he hadn't have killed Polt, he had to do a lot of damage. And a loose tank there isn't obviously ideal. And he's lost those 11 tanks, remember. He had 11, now just 4. And Polt seems to be clawing his way back into this one.
Can he breach this third base location? If he can, then that will certainly give him a really good spot to come back in this game. But at the same time, 4 Hellions with Blue Flame gonna lay waste to a few of the SCVs at that natural third.
Polt doesn't want to fight the third. Pick up and drop in the main.
Yeah.
He needs to come out of scan range and then pick up and drop in the main. This is an obvious weakness.
Forces the mining to cease at this natural. Maybe get a few more workers, but it's 51 workers have gone down from 66 against 36 in favor of Jjakji. His economy is absolutely flying across these 3 bases, and Polt cannot break that 3rd location.
No, he cannot. He cannot. And Jjakji going to start to, well, he's got a sensor tower to cover his weakness, which is that main base. And he's still building up, you know, a larger and larger army. He's still just on 4 factories, but with this 3rd, pretty sure Jjakji's going to actually throw down a couple more. He's got his double armory to start to catch up. And he's going to have to slow the pace down of this game a little bit, but it's still leading in this game. It was close to being a win, but Polt did find a way to hold on for now.
Once again, the Blue Flame Hellions still going to town on these SCVs. It's slowly chipping away at this economy. Even one in the main needs to be rallied against by these barracks. Otherwise, it's really a big hindrance here for Polt. He just constantly cannot replenish quick enough on those SCV counts.
Yeah, Polt should really start 2-2. I'm sure he built a 2nd engineering brain armory. Oh, I thought he did. I don't know why I can't see it anymore. Maybe, oh, it was on the natural. Okay, got blown up. Okay,
okay.
I remember now.
Oh yeah, it was at the front.
Yeah, so that obviously would like to get 2-2 underway. But Jjakji's rebuilt a pretty strong army. 4th command center, 1-1 upgrades on the way. Polt's army not terrible. Not terrible, but remember that Polt is down in SCVs. Quite down here. He's 38 to 66.
And this one Marine, well, no, actually he's not going to go for the scout just yet, but he does have one on the right-hand side, despite if any Hellions would go for a run around. And, well, that's a lot of Hellions, and now he's not going to be able to spot any more run around. As Jjakji also position his tanks in the middle of the map. There's not too much movement here from either side, as Polt's a little bit supply blocked, getting out of that as quickly as possible, though.
Well, Jjakji's marching up north, is spotted by the Zelnaga tower, and Polt needs to start to prepare for this. This is going to be a hard fight to take. He needs to get to the tanks. But how is he going to get to them with so many Hellions at the front?
Yeah, it's a really strong meat shield, especially if it was Hellbats, but, you know, the Hellions allow him that mobility, that extra factor that really throws Polt off guard, especially if it manages to wiggle around to the extra bases.
And now 1-1 as well.
Yeah, this is getting out of control once again. Army supplies 128 to 96. It should be the other way around for the bio tank player.
A slow march forward here for Jjakji, the leap frog of the tanks.
The air dominance and the Hellions now move forwards for some kills. How much will they be able to do? They kill off all the siege tanks, which really
There is a flag set up here on the right-hand side for Polt.
And he's going to look to find if he's out of siege, and he does find that position now. He drops the scan. This is the best time for him to go. He's going to come in from both sides. This could work out for Polt here if he's actually able to trade with those siege tanks effectively. But even with that, it's still not enough. The firepower for Jjakji, far too strong. The Vikings also ruling the skies, still killing off medevac after medevac, and Polt now plummets in terms of supply.
And this time it's not going to be as easy to come back from. The tank count back up to where it was before. 13 tanks here for Jjakji. It's higher than it was before. GG.
Wow.
3-0. Semi-finals, here we go.
Absolute domination here from Jjakji. It was a little bit, you know, back and forth in some of those games, but in the end, Jjakji shows that his TVT prowess really works wonders.
Well, there's some pretty good TVT players in Europe. 4GG, Cass.
Yeah.
It's shows some practice over there. It's been paying off for him as he just 3-0'd Polt. And Polt, unfortunately now, despite what he was aiming for, has been eliminated from the tournament. Jjakji congratulated by A-Bomb, and from what I've been told, a staff member from My Insanity, Jjakji first player into the semis. Congratulations, a boost in money. That's $2,000 he's now banked. 375 WCS points, which is going to help his WCS Europe Premier League career this year. But Polt signed till Extreme Masters. Sao Paulo tournament has sadly come to an end.
Yeah, Jjakji now, I think with those points currently, he sits at like #1 for WCS ranking or something. But I mean, at this point, we still have to wait for all of these tournaments to finish with things going on and trying to find out who is going to be taking that top spot very soon. We'll know by the end of the next few days.
Yes, we will.
All right, so that does it for our first quarterfinal there. Were you expecting that to be so one-sided?
I didn't think it would be 3-0. Definitely not. I definitely thought that Polt... Actually, I thought Polt was going to win the series.
Yeah.
But it was a 3-0 in favor of Jjakji, which means Jjakji now moves on to the semis to play against the winner of either MC or A-Bomb, which is our next quarterfinal, which, of course, will be coming up straight away. So make sure not to go anywhere. That will be an interesting PvP, whether A-Bomb can, you know, live up to his expectations inside, because he should be, you know, heading for the final, man. He just knocked out Byung. Anything's possible today. And we'll see if he can go up against MC and be able to take him out. But MC, to be fair, is in form, is looking in great shape right now. Better than he's been in quite a while. And without a victory for a couple of years now, MC is hungry for that first place.
Yeah.
So it isn't going to be easy for A-Bomb.
It's been so close for MC as well. Last year, we had him twice runner-up in WCS Europe. So what can you do as MC, really? It's a bit of a brutal position there. Anyway, guys, that is it for this first quarter-final. Join us after the break, when not only will we have our next quarter-final in MC versus A-Bomb, but also we'll have a little interview as well.
Okay, we are joined on the stage by Jjakji now after a fantastic 3-0 win. Congratulations. The obvious question I know, but did you think that it would be that straightforward against a player of Polt's capabilities?
그 첫 세트만 이기면은 3대0 예상했고, 만약에 첫 세트를 지게 돼도 3대1로 이길 거라고 예상했어요.
So after I won the first map, I was like, okay, I can make it 3-0. So he was like, if I lose the first map, I can still make it to 3-1, but when I win the first map, it should be a 3-0.
Okay, second map you played pretty much the same way as the first map. Was that always the plan?
첫 번째 맵이랑 두 번째 맵 똑같은 거 만들었잖아.
네, 상황이요? 네.
똑같았는데 그냥 그렇게 생각했는지.
첫 번째 판에서는 의도치 않게 그런 상황이 나왔는데, 첫 번째 판에 그렇게 이기니까 그 폴치 선수가 제대로 대처를 못하는 것 같아서 두 번째 판도 좀 유도했어요.
So after I used it in the first map, I realized, okay, Polt, he seems like he can't handle it that well and he can't play. So I was like, okay, I will use it in the second map as well.
Okay. You've recently moved to Switzerland and you're going to be playing in WCS Europe this year. I'm really looking forward to seeing how you do in the WCS Europe. Has that had a positive effect on your play? Because we've seen more of you over the last 6 months. Your play has seemingly come back to where it used to be.
너 지금 스위스로 이사했잖아.
네.
그래서 스위스 이사하면서 지금 너 성격 더 잘 내고 더 잘하고 있는데, 그래서 좋았는지, 스위스로 온 거 좋은 거였는지 너한테.
네, 좀 처음엔 생활하는 게 좀 힘들긴 했는데, 일단 대회 기회 자체가 많으니까 성적도 더 낼 수 있는 것 같고, 우리 연습할 때도 거의 안 지기 때문에 앞으로 있을 WCS 유럽도 우승할 수 있을 것 같아요.
So at the beginning when he moved to Swiss, it was kind of hard for him because he wasn't used to the life and all the things in Swiss. But you can see more of him. He's shown better results because there are more tournaments where he can show, and he's doing pretty good in his training and practice games. And he says he never lose actually. So he thinks he will do really good in WCS EU as well.
Okay, one final question. MC takes on A-Bomb next. The odds are stacked against the Irish player. So if you end up playing MC, are you going to stop him being able to buy the Audi R8?
너 지금 민철이랑 A번 봐잖아.
네.
민철이랑 4강에서 만나면 너 이길 수 있는지 자신 있는지.
그 MC 선수랑 했을 때 아마도 지금까지 한 번도 대회 때 진 적이 없기 때문에 자신 있고, 근데 이제 또 같은 팀원이니까 A밤이 올라왔으면 해요.
So whenever he met MC in a official match, he never lost against him. So he thinks he will beat him as well. But because A-Bomb is one of his teammates, so he hopes that A-Bomb will advance.
Okay, I figured that might be the answer, but I thought I'd fish anyway. Ladies and gentlemen, the winner of our first quarterfinal is Jjakji. Very popular here with the crowd in Brazil. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, though, we will have our second quarterfinal of the day. Don't go too far away. It's the Boss Toss versus the Irish Toss.